Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, everybody. I am so excited to be back with you guys. It's been a hot little minute. I want to say welcome to my Instagram family. Welcome to my Facebook family. I miss y'all. I miss y'all so much. So listen, if you're jumping on the stream, make sure that you go ahead and you share it for me. I am actually about to go ahead and make sure I share as well. Hi, Miss Benita. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you so much for always supporting. I am so excited to be here with you all. Take a second. I'm just going to wait a little second and see how everybody is doing. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. I have no intention of being on here too long today. However, I feel like I always say I have no intention of being on here too long today, and I wind up being on here long. So I'm going to need y'all to keep me accountable. 30 minutes tops. If I'm on here for more than 30 minutes, y'all cut me off. Hey, Mr. Reese. Hey, Cherie Styles. I'm excited to be on here. Listen, I'm going ahead and I'm practicing what I'm preaching. I'm going to go ahead and share the stream. And then we are going to get started. Anybody notice that Facebook done changed up their format? Is it just me? Did y'all notice that Facebook done changed up their format? I feel like when you log in with a computer, it looks different. So I feel like I can't find everything that I need to find. Maybe that's just me. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share. I just want to share Facebook. Facebook being extra difficult. All right, looks like I got to do it from my phone. Hold up, y'all. Facebook being extra difficult. See, I ain't been on Facebook in a minute. And so things done changed up on me. And so I don't know how to work Facebook no more. But we're going to get into it. Don't y'all go nowhere. If you are on with me, let me know. Make yourself known. Say, hey, let me know that you're on. I do see that a couple of people have joined. And so I thank you for joining me today. Let me know if you're on. Let me know what you're doing. This is a little bit earlier than I normally would do a live, but I figured, hey, I had a little bit of time to do it a little bit earlier, so I was going to do it a little bit earlier today. But I'm excited to be with you all today. I'm so excited. It's been a minute. Wait a minute, y'all. That lighting hitting right. I see that lighting. That lighting hit light. You know when that lighting hit right, when it hit all the right angles. Instagram is doing me justice. This lighting is looking real good. This lighting hitting real right. But I'm so excited to be back. It's been a minute, y'all. It's been a hot little minute since I've come on, since I've done a live, since I got a chance to come and talk to you all. But I am so excited to be back. I miss my social media family. I miss my Instagram family. I miss my Facebook family. Listen, I miss my Oasis family because y'all are a part of the Oasis family. And so I'm so excited to be back on. As most of you know, if you've been following me, in January, I started this journey where every other week I was doing a live on different mental health topics. Took a break in July because, self-care is important. So I decided in July I was going to take me a little bit of break and then I was going to hop back to it. And so then the plan and the intention was to get back started in August. And I did my first one in August, and then transition happened. Good transition, life transition happened. And I thought that I would be able to start back up a lot sooner than I was able to start up, but I wasn't able to, but that's okay, because we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about when it's okay to follow the path that you are currently on in your life. And if some things have to take a back seat, sometimes some things have to take a back seat. And so just to share with you all, so like I said, I took a break in July for my self-care, came back ready to go hard in August, put up my flyer, did the first one. By the time the second one came around, I was just like, okay, I got to take a break now. Because life transition happened, but good life transition. So the Lord blessed me and my husband when we were able to buy our first home. So excited. God is so good and God is so gracious and giving us the ability to have him bought our first home. And so August we moved. It kind of happened quickly. Like we were looking, we were searching, we had found the place or whatever, and then boom, August hit and we closed on our house. Also went back to the full-time job full time after not being there for summer. And as you know, I am an educator by day, a school therapist by day. So all of it just took place all at the same time. So we closed on a house, we moved, and school started back up in this virtual world all at the same time. And it all completely threw me for a loop at the same time. And so I decided that I needed to take a back seat a little bit, not from everything. Because listen, y'all, I've been working. I've been working and building and doing some things, and we'll hear about some of those exciting things later. But I decided for me in that moment that I did need to take a little bit of a back seat. And so I did that for my own self-care because of having the opportunity to move, because God is so gracious and allow us to get our own home. And listen, y'all, before I was doing these lives out of like our multi-purpose room. So I'm about to share all my business, whatever. We were in an apartment. And so we had a 2-bedroom apartment that was kind of like the guest bedroom, doubled as the office, doubled as the chill room. And so I was doing these lives in there. But listen, because of the upgrade, because of the transition, I now got my own office. Come on here, somebody. I got my own home office and I'm so excited. As y'all see, I'm kind of decorating it, making it all pretty, nice little backdrop and everything. So super excited for what God is doing in my life during this time. But what I want to jump into today is talking about catching the rhythm. I hope everybody is well. Again, if you are on with me, let me know that you're on. Give me a shout, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, give me a shout out. Let me know that you're here. Give me a hey, hey, or whoop, whoop. If you're watching the replay later, go ahead and hit hashtag replay so I know that you watch later and I know that you are with me. Hi, Richard. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for always supporting. But let me know that you are with me today, and we're going to jump in today. So as I told you guys a little bit ago, I just gave you the whole spill, but I was transitioning, and what I found was during that time of me moving, school starting back up, having to go back to work, closed on the home and everything, life outside of this also didn't stop, right? So I still have responsibilities to my marriage. I'm still running my business, right? I'm still seeing clients, I'm still, building that, working on other things. Life didn't stop. But what happened for me was that I found that the move was a bigger undertaking than in my mind I realized that it would be, right? It was a little bit of a bigger undertaking, a good undertaking, a blessed undertaking. But if anybody has moved, especially when you move into a home, and if it's your first time, it's an undertaking, right? Because you're looking at, we did a couple of things to the house. So we got a couple of renovations done, and just getting you acclimated. I don't know about y'all, but it takes me a little second to get acclimated to my surroundings when I move somewhere new, just to get comfortable with it, get comfortable with the neighborhood, figure out what's my new route to work, and what shop, right, I'm gonna be buying my groceries from. Come on, y'all. I'm not the only one, right? I look at all of those things because all of those things make a difference. And so it took me a little bit of a minute to get acclimated to my environment, to get acclimated back into everything that I was doing. And so I was, if I'm honest, a bit overwhelmed, right? Because what I was going to try to do, I was going to try to move into my home, continue to see clients, work with starting that week. So I was going to pick that back up in the beginning of the school year. Is always crazy. And I was going to continue to come on and do these lives. And I was going to continue to do this. And I was going to continue to do that. And it just all got a bit overwhelming, right? I wanted to set up my space. I wanted to get settled in. And so then for me, I realized that I had to figure out what in the moment was the most important thing in the moment. Right? What was the thing that my attentions needed to be focused on in the moment? Because that was the most important thing. So this is where rhythm comes in. Oftentimes we talk about work-life balance, right? Everybody hears about work-life balance. We've all heard about work-life balance and what it means. And you gotta be able to work and play. You got to be able to have fun and spend time with your family and all of that. But I want to introduce you to, if you've come to any of my past workshops, you've already heard about this. But if you haven't come to any of my past workshops, I want to introduce you to a new idea called work-life rhythm. work-life rhythm, which is why today's live is called Catch the Rhythm. The new idea of work-life rhythm. So I want to say it probably was about 2 years ago or so. A sister friend of mine was reading a book, and she was reading a book about work-life balance and being an entrepreneur and being able to balance all of the responsibilities and everything that you were doing. And she shared with me that the author of the book began to talk about this idea of rhythm over balance, rhythm over balance. And so we had a quick conversation about it, and the idea of work-life rhythm, like, it piqued my interest, but in that moment, it was just a cool idea. Well, over time, I started to do some research, and I started to see a trend within myself, but then I also started to see a trend with many of my clients. And what was happening was we were focused so much on work-life balance, but for whatever reason, it just seems like the scale, like we could never achieve it, right? And that led to all kinds of feelings of all kinds of things, right? And what is balance anyway, right? We'll talk about that in a little bit, right? And so this idea of work-life balance is I started to do more research on it, and I started to ascribe to it more, or prescribe. Which word is it? I think it's ascribe to it more. But anyway, we're not here for English today. We're not here for a spelling lesson. All right. So I started to ascribe to the idea of work-life balance more, work-life rhythm more, excuse me. So basically, with work-life balance, it says that everything has to be even. When something is balanced, that means all sides of the scale is even, right? When I have work-life balance, that means I put in equal amount of hours, as I put in an equal amount of time with family, as I put in an equal amount of time with just me time, catch up time, that I put in an equal amount of time at church, that I put in an equal amount of time at all of these things, right? And it says that in order to live this fulfilling life, everything has to be equal, everything has to be balanced, the scale has to be perfect. The reality of life is the scale can't always be balanced. The reality of life is the scale can't always be perfect, right? There's always going to be things. Hi, Uncle Sean. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for sneaking in with me while you're at work. Thank you to my Instagram family who have joined. But the idea of work-life balance is that everything has to be even. Life doesn't always work like that, where everything can be even, right? And so the idea of work-life rhythm is that it says that there are certain places and certain points in our life where our focus has to shift, and that's okay. The scale may not be balanced, but that's okay. So here's my greatest example of that. You ever listen to a song, right? And at different sections and at different parts of the song, you'll hear like different parts of the beat is more apparent, right? Like maybe there's a part of the song where the drums is like the drums is killing it. And you listening to the song and it just sounds so good, right? And you're going with the drums. But then all of a sudden you hear a section come in and it really wows you, and you hear the horn section come in and the horn section kill it. I'm a flautist, right? I used to play the flute, so I'm gonna bring in the flutes. And then there's a part of the song where the music get real low and then the flutes come in, and then the flutes is the main section. Or maybe there's a part of the song where the vocals, that's the main section. That's the thing that you're focusing on, right? There's a particular Christmas song that I use. Usually I would play in a workshop that I do. I would play that song, and we would talk about how at the different sections of the song, I noticed different beats. I noticed different instruments were playing. And at that time, at that moment in the song, that instrument or that beat was the most important thing and the thing that we focused on the most. That is rhythm. That is the idea of catching a rhythm, of work-life rhythm. What it says is you have to figure out what the rhythm of your life is. And whatever the rhythm of your life is at the moment, that is where your focus is, and you go with it, and that's okay. Because we can't always achieve balance, because the scales won't always be able to be balanced, and I'm able to give equal time. Listen, we got 24 hours in a day. And so for me, my greatest example of this is when I moved. When I moved, my focus and attention had to go onto my home, right? It had to go on to me successfully moving, me successfully unpacking and just getting comfortable with first of all, getting comfortable in a new neighborhood, being comfortable in my home, and all of that stuff. And I had to focus there. There were some things that I could not give up. I had to keep going to work. I could not keep give up going to work, right? And so I had to focus on that. I had to keep seeing my clients. I still showed up for my clients during this time, during move. Listen, I was in different rooms, I was in different areas. I was in my office, and each time I got on sessions, my background looked different, right? But I had to keep seeing clients. I was not missing church. I had to keep going to church, right? There were certain things that I had to keep doing. But for me, the social media thing or doing my lives, right? This was an aspect of life that I can cut out, and I was okay with it. And so the idea of work-life rhythm is that it's about being mindful of the moment that you were in currently. If you are still watching, somebody type that in the comments for me. Work-life rhythm is about being mindful of the moment that you were in currently. We all have moments. Our moments shift. The moment that's important, that's most important in front of us, it shifts from time to time. Sometimes if you're a student, the moment may be school. School may be coming down on you, and you need to focus on getting the work done, getting the assignments done. So you may not be able to go hang out today. You may not be able to, whatever, go shopping today or whatever, because the rhythm says school is what's in front of me. This is the moment that I'm being mindful of, and so I'm getting it done, right? Maybe the moment in front of you, maybe you're newly married. If you're newly married, the moment in front of you is getting acclimated to joining your life with another person, right? When two becomes one, that's a real serious thing. And so you have to catch the rhythm of that. And so a lot of your attention may shift and your focus may shift to making your marriage work, to getting to know your husband and wife more, right? Know them more, doing date nights, just getting acclimated to that. Maybe you're newly single for one reason or another, getting acclimated to being newly single, right? Being mindful of where you are in that current moment. Maybe, a diagnosis popped up, right? This is the realities of life. Maybe a diagnosis popped up. And so now you're focused on trying to get that thing managed, trying to get that thing underway, making sure that you're going to your doctor's appointments and doing what you have to do. And that's where the rhythm is taking you. That's where the beat is taking you right now. That's the moment you need to be mindful in, right? Maybe it's work. Maybe there's big assignments coming up at work, or maybe you got a new job. And so you want to focus and put your all into that, right? That is the moment that you are in currently. And that is the moment that you have to be mindful of. What I love about rhythm is that rhythm holds us to be mindful. Work-life balance is everything has to be even. Got to get it right, got to get it right, got to get it right. For us perfectionists, and I'm putting myself in that category. For us perfectionists, always having to get it right, right? I always failed at balance. Like I would always say I have balance, but I really had no true evidence that I had balance, right? Because there were certain things that I would give most of my time and energies and focus to all the time and still try to do everything else at the same time. And as a perfectionist, right, I was setting myself up for failure every time. But when I started to ascribe to the idea of this work-life rhythm and learning to catch the rhythm, what happened was I removed shame. I removed a pressure from myself from having to 100% be on top of everything at every time, at every moment, at every day. It was giving myself permission to live in the moment that I needed to live in. That is so good. Oh my goodness, that is so good. If y'all didn't catch nothing else, I need y'all to catch that one. When I ascribed to rhythm, it gave me permission to live in the moment that I was in without shame or guilt, because at the moment I couldn't attend to something else. Now, hear me clearly. What I'm not saying with work-life rhythm, that doesn't mean that you're neglecting any areas of your life, right? Because school is my focus, or because I got to focus in on work because there's an assignment done, that doesn't mean I stop tending to my family. That doesn't mean I stop spending time with my husband. That doesn't mean that I stop going to church. All right, so this is a sidebar, but I'm gonna throw this one in here for free. I'm gonna throw this one in here for free for y'all. The first thing we do when we get overwhelmed is stop going to church. Stop doing that. Stop doing that, right? It doesn't mean that I stop doing all of those things that are important, right? It means that the moment that I am in is the moment that I'm focusing on, right? That means where maybe where normally I would give 10 hours to this area over here, I'm gonna just get 5 over here because I really need 15 over here. But guess what? When I settle this area, when I'm able to shift out of this moment, when a big assignment for work is done, when the paper for school is done, right? When I'm able to shift some of my focus attention because everything over here is stable, everything over here is cool, then guess what? Now I can ramp up time in this area. We all have seasons, we all have time, even with self-care, right? We have to take, guys, we have to take better care of ourselves out in 2020 in these COVID streets, whatever you want to call it. We have to get better about tending to ourselves. We have to get better about taking care of ourselves. So what I'm not telling you with rhythm, I'm not telling you to neglect any parts of yourself because every part of yourself is important. Still go to your doctor's appointments. Still find times to kick your feet up and binge on some Netflix. Still find time to hang out with your friends and laugh it up. Still find time to, make sure that you're making a regular habit of going out with your husband, going out with your wife, spending time with them. Make time for friends. All of that is important, but it is also okay when in those moments, I can't do as much of that for this moment because if I'm a planner, right? At my church, I'm the events coordinator. And so if we have a big event coming up, a lot of my time and attention goes to that. So I may not spend as much time Netflixing because I want to make sure that everything is right for the event. But guess what? Eventually the planning is done. Eventually the event will pass. And that time and energy and effort that I've spent and I put into that moment to plan that event, now I can gain that back. So now I can go back to if I want to Netflix and chill. Now I can go back to me and my husband can do that extra date night. I ain't say get rid of date night in the first place, but now we can go back and do that extra one, right? And so work's all about knowing what the beat is at the moment in your life. Is the drums most prominent? Is the drums where you need to focus your attention? Well, guess what? You focus your attention on the drums, right? Is the horns? The horns is calling out to you. You got to focus on them horns. Then you guess what? You focus in on them horns because that's what you need, right? That's how it goes with our life. It's, and for parents, you may have multiple children, but there may be one child who may be struggling. Maybe they're having behavioral issues. Maybe there are things that are going on in school. I'm not saying neglect all of your children, but you may have to invest a little bit more time, energy, and effort into that particular child so you can get them stable, so you can get them back on track. You're still giving your love and your energy and effort to everyone else, but in that moment, you have to be a little bit more mindful of that child and of that situation. We all have those situations in life. I'm sure if I ask all of y'all to drop in the comments where's the rhythm is right now, that we can just be like, yo, it's work, yo, it's my marriage, yo, it's school, whatever. It's okay, right? Again, what I love about it is because it causes us to be mindful, to give my attention to where my attention needs to go to, giving me permission. We have to give ourselves permission to focus on the moment that we're in. There's nothing wrong with it, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It is a necessary, I'm not going to even say a necessary evil because it's not a necessary evil. It is just a necessary. It is just a necessity to make sure that you catch the rhythm of your life. And so if anybody wants to, go ahead and drop in the comments, what is the rhythm of your life right now? Right now, the rhythm of my life is business building. I done moved into my home. And so there's still some aspects of my home that I'm doing. Me and my husband are, doing some things in the home. But right now it's business building. I'm about to take some major leaps, bounds, and steps as it pertains to my business. And so now a lot of my extra time where I may spend a little extra time Netflixing, a little extra time doing, some other things that I enjoy doing, or even working on some other things, I'm focusing my energy to make sure that my business is right, making sure the paperwork is right, so that as I build and as I take the next steps from what I'm doing in my business, I can make sure it's right. But guess what? Once that's completed, then I'm moving on to the next thing. I'm working on let's see, my rhythm is finding and embracing my purpose. Love it, love it, love it, Uncle Sean. That is great. Your rhythm right now is focusing on finding your purpose. And so that's where a lot of your time, attention, and energy may be on. And here's the thing I learned about when you find your rhythm. When you focus the time, attention, and energy on, it also helps to remove unnecessary distractions. If we're honest, when I find my rhythm, when we moved, and because that's where my rhythm had been over the last 2 months, getting acclimated and settled into the home and the renovations we were getting done and getting unpacked and all of that, right? What it did was it forced me to have to remove other distractions, other things that I would normally do that would take a lot of my time. I couldn't focus on that because I had to put my energy into getting acclimated, getting into my rhythm. Good, Mr. Reese, your rhythm is school, focusing on school right now. I know that's right, Uncle Sean, buying a house. And I declare in the name of Jesus that it is so, and so it is. Right. So we find our rhythm, we find the place where it is that we need to be, and it helps us to remove distractions as well. Because I don't know about y'all, when I really get into my groove, when I really get focused on the moment that I'm in at the moment, like you can't tear me apart. I remember when I was first building Oasis, and when I was first working on hiring my employees, which happened to be at the beginning of the pandemic. I was in the office doing paperwork. I was typing up stuff or whatever the case is. It'd be like 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. My husband like, you still working? And I didn't even realize it was 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. I didn't realize that I was working until 11 and 12 o'clock at night, right? Because I was just in my groove. I was in a computer typing, right? Because when you're in your rhythm, nothing can stop that. But once it was done, it was done. And so now they have to go to bed at 11 o'clock anymore because I was recouping my time back. But that's where my rhythm was in a moment. And so what I am encouraging you guys today is to catch your rhythm. Give yourself permission to focus on the moment that you are in currently, whatever that focus needs to be, whether the focus needs to be your children, whether it needs to be your moving, whether it needs to be your job, whether it needs to be your health, right? Now, listen, there's something to be said about balance. Remember, I'm gonna make sure I make this point clear. What I'm not saying is when you catch the rhythm, what I'm not saying is that you neglect any area of your life. I'm not saying to throw yourself so much into work that you forget that you have family, that you forget that you have a husband or a wife, that you forget that you have kids, right? That is not at all what I'm saying to you. But what I'm saying is it is okay when you get to those points in your life where this has to have my attention. And I'm sure all of us have gotten to a point where like, all right, this has to have most of my attention. I'm going to make sure that hubby gets his time. I'm going to spend time with him. I'm going to make sure I'm going to go to church. I'm going to make sure that I give God his time. I'm making sure that I give my clients the time that I owe to them. I'm making sure, different areas of my life is taken care of. My nephews got their time. I'm tending to all church responsibilities, but all that extra time, the bulk majority of that time, I'm focused in on my area of rhythm. And so I want you to give yourself permission. If you feel like, oh my God, I've just been thinking about this, I've been focusing about this, figure out where you have to make sure that you're not neglecting anything in your life. Figure that out, but then figure out the timeline for how long this particular thing needs to be the focus of your attention, and give it your all, get it done, because once it's out the way, once it's done, then you can move on to the next thing. And what I love about rhythm is that sometimes in a song, like sometimes it's the drums that's really killing it, and sometimes it's the horns, and sometimes it's the vocals, but sometimes the rhythm comes together and everything is in perfect unison. Right? Sometimes that beat come together and the drums is on point with the horns, with the vocals, and you just grooving, right? Sometimes you just hit the groove. I don't know why I feel like when you say you hit the groove, you gotta groove with it. So that's why I'm dancing right now. But sometimes at certain points in the song, you just hit the groove, right? And you just going and you're moving. So I'm not saying at all points in time, you're always going to be on a rhythm. Sometimes you're just going to be in the groove. And that's where that balance comes in, right? That's where that work-life balance comes in. Everything is just smooth. And that's okay too. This is all called life. But when those moments come up, when those things come up, and that's where the rhythm needs to be, then that's where you need to go. A suggestion on my end is when catching those rhythms, don't procrastinate on the little things that need to be handled. Knock it out quick, and then it's not a mental burden as you move into your purpose. Yes, Uncle Sean, that is so huge. That is so huge. When you are getting in your rhythm, when you are catching your rhythm, take care of what you need to take care of. Because here's the thing, you'll be stuck in that rhythm. Like, listen, the drums is cool. And I was listening to the drums and I'm grooving. But if at some point the whole song is just the drums and I miss out on everything else, and now all I'm hearing is the drums beating, after a while you're going to get tired of it. After a while that can cause burnout. But when I take care of what I have to take care of and not procrastinate, get it done, and I knock it out, guess what? Now I can move on to the next beat. Now I can move on to the groove of the next song, right? So that is an excellent example. Thank you for sharing that. That is so important. Take care of what you have to take care of, but give yourself permission to catch your rhythm so that you can move forward with life. Listen, y'all, that's all I have for y'all. I plan on getting back on track from this moment forward every 2 weeks. This would have been my Wellness Wednesday night, my Wellness Wednesday chat. I usually do it at 9 o'clock. But again, because I'm catching my rhythm, right? And my rhythm in this season is a little bit more self-care, taking care of me and not overwhelming. I'm probably going to be changing up the time a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see. But you definitely will see me back on here in 2 weeks, and I'll have another topic for you. As always, guys, if there are specific topics, specific things that you want to talk about, that you want me to bring awareness to, that we want to have some conversation around, inbox me. You can hit me up on YouTube. Now, I don't know if you can inbox on YouTube. You can't, but you can DM me on Instagram, DM me, hit my inbox on Facebook at Oasis Wellness Group. It's Oasis Wellness Group across the board. And let me know what it is that you guys are wanting to talk about. But I'm just excited that I had the opportunity to be back on here today with you all. I hope that this talk was a blessing to you. I hope it was freeing to you in some way. Let me know if this was helpful for you. But you guys have an amazing day, an amazing October. I'm so glad to be back with you all. I'm so excited. And as promised, I'm keeping my word. And I'm at 30 minutes and 38 seconds. So I'm about to log off before I hit 31 minutes and I'm over time. But it's been good to see you guys. I'll be back on with you soon, and I will see you later. Make sure that you share the stream. Make sure that you drop a comment. I'll make sure to go back to the comments and let me know if you're watching the replay. I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.